So, I'm a men's rights activist, and I want to talk a little bit about the problem of labels, which I think is a huge problem in society right now. And it's a big part of the reason why people are so divided. I find that when I explain to people what my beliefs are and what my positions are, most people agree. And I believe that's because my beliefs are more or less that of equality. I believe in equal rights. I believe in equal opportunity. I believe that if there is a social disparity, like one gender is falling behind in school or one gender is more likely to be homeless, then we should try and correct that and make things equal. And I think on a basic level, the vast majority of reasonable people would agree with that. But when I use the label MRA, when I use the term men's rights activist, all of a sudden I get a very, very different reaction. Sometimes a very, very hostile reaction. And it's like all of a sudden people now see me completely differently. And they don't really see my views, they don't really see my positions, they see the perception of what they think those views are, of what they think those positions are. And what I was talking about in my last video, when I was saying, should MRAs, men's rights activists, try and make peace with feminists, I think there's a very large number of people who are affected by this. They're affected by the label, they're affected by the stereotype and their inability to kind of see past the label. And it's very much ingrained into us, it's very much hammered into us. And I am by no means innocent. Like I said before, you can go through my history, you can go through my video history on this channel, and I've made some very critical videos towards feminists. Sometimes do I generalize too much? Do I regret some of the videos I've made? Yeah, maybe. I've been guilty of that. I've been guilty of tribalism. I've been guilty of this problem. And it's such a shame because I actually think that there's so much more in common with most people than most people would believe. But we get so caught up in our perception of what someone is because of what side they're on that we can't really look and see, okay, what does this person really believe though? What does this person actually want? Right? What does a men's rights activist actually want? What do I actually want as a men's rights activist? Well, the answer would be very simple: equality. And because I'm an MRA, I look at men's issues and boys' issues, such as conscription, such as the education gap, such as circumcision, such as unequal pension ages, such as the incarceration gap, such as the homeless gap. And I find that when I explain to people what these positions are, people agree. But the second I use MRA or men's rights, all of a sudden I get a very, very different reaction, and often a very hostile reaction. And this is how it works a lot of the times when MRAs and feminists start talking. They can't see past the label. They can't see past what they perceive the other person to be. And I really do think that's such a shame, because I was in a debate recently where the things that I was being told, the assumptions that people were making about me, kind of showed me just how skewed and just how wrong their perception is of me. And it's because they know I'm an MRA. I told them I'm a men's rights activist. And so that instantly created a profile of the things that I believe. And this is something that's very, very common. And so I think that maybe a solution to this is, if people were to stop so much using the label, I'm a feminist, I'm a men's rights activist, I'm this, that, and the other, and instead started saying, well, I believe this, I care about this problem, I care about these issues, I want to fix this, maybe then we could have better conversations. And maybe people could actually start listening to other people who they would have perceived as being on the other side, or the enemy, so to speak, and they would realize that, actually, maybe this person isn't my enemy. Maybe this person is potentially even an ally. And there may be some disagreements, for sure. And there are some genuinely toxic people, for sure. But I think, as I said in my very, very first video on this channel, if you want to go back and look it up, which was called MRAs versus Feminists, What is the Middle Ground? I do believe there is a lot of that middle ground there. And I think that if people were willing to listen not to how people identify themselves, but to what people actually believe and care about and what people actually want, I think we would find a lot more middle ground there. And I think we would find much more opportunity to work together and to cooperate. And like I said, I will be the first one to say, I have very much fallen victim to this. I've made inflammatory videos criticizing feminists. Absolutely. Was that really the best approach to go about it? Well, I got upvotes from MRAs, but do you think I was making feminists change their mind about me? Do you think that that kind of approach is going to make a feminist say, maybe I should give these MRAs guys a chance. Maybe they make some good points. Probably not. It feels good, right? It feels good. So, I don't know, this video is a bit of a ramble, I suppose, but it's just the older I get and the more I do this, yes, I think the men's rights movement is making progress. It's growing every year. I mean, International Men's Day is a bigger event each and every year. Men's rights communities are growing, and more I'm hearing people, strangers in the gym, in Trader Joe's, recently even some family members who I never in a million years would have thought, expressing pro-MRA sentiment, or even calling themselves men's rights activists. So the men's rights movement is growing, and our ideas are catching on, and we are slowly becoming more and more mainstream. But at the same time, a lot of things are the same. And I just see the same arguments over and over and over again. I feel like I've had the same debates 100 different times with 100 different people. And it may as well be the same debate 100 times with the same person, because it's exactly the same. And nobody really changes their minds. Nobody really comes away thinking any differently. If anything, they come away feeling even more strongly about their positions in the first place. And I just think that maybe we could do better than that. And yeah, maybe I have been part of the problem in the past, but the older I get, the more I don't want to worry about the past. I mean, you can't ignore the past. You can't ignore what you've done, and what you've said and what you've done is there forever. And then that's a part of you, and you can't erase that. And that's why I don't erase my old videos. Even some of the older videos that I regret, I don't erase them as a rule, because that's part of the history of how I felt at the time. It was the truth at the time. It was my honest thoughts at the time. And, I don't think this video is going to start some big movements, and I'm beginning to accept that this channel, it's probably not going to blow up and be some giant channel, but to those that do watch this, to the few, to my MRA friends, let's start leading by example. Let's start being a positive example to the world and to the people around us. Let's start making people say, hey, these MRAs, they do seem reasonable. Actually, they do seem okay to talk to. Maybe the image that I had of them wasn't quite accurate. Maybe there's, and I'm not saying that they're going to suddenly agree with you or going to switch sides or anything, but just maybe you can make them see you just a little bit better, and you can make people think, you know what, maybe there is a little bit more middle ground than I thought. And that's how progress starts. And who knows where that ends up. Anyway, I'm Blue Orange 22. Thanks for watching. In case you're wondering what this shirt is, because every time I wear it, people ask about it. This is from a charity, Save Vietnam's Monkeys. I lived in Vietnam. My sister also lives in Vietnam. She was involved in it. I wasn't, but she gave me one of the shirts. And basically, they went into the jungle to try and find this very endangered species of monkey. So that's what this shirt is. I love it because it's a great conversation starter. People always ask about it. But anyway, I'm Blue Orange 22. Thanks for watching.